cultural pluralism and those who demand loyalty to a particular group. The particularist approach to American culture can be seen most vividly in ethnic studies programs whose goal is to raise the self-esteem of students by providing role models. And listen to what she says. Such courses are animated by a spirit of filial pietism and by fundamentalist notions of racial and ethnic purity. From my point of view, the argument is between several filial pietic groups, Ravages included, each of whom is in a war over the control of the definition of multiculturalism and the curriculum to be certain that that group's interests are defended and advanced. That is exactly why the state of Illinois mandated by law that the Jewish Holocaust be taught for 6 weeks every year. Not the African American Holocaust, not the Native American Holocaust, the Jewish Holocaust. What does Ravich's esoteric categorization of political activities mean here? And why isn't she protesting that particularism? Additionally, she says that the pluralist approach which she advances accords with traditional academic ethics in that students learn to approach their subject with a critical eye. Give Barbara Ann a break. So what would she say when her students brought her Diop's analysis of ancient Egypt, a point of view which she would call particularist? She argues that particularists want their adherents to believe in the subject rather than to know it. What do we do then about the Jewish Holocaust? It's very clear that everybody's out for self. Each group is out for its own best interests, and we need to get about that business. Education Week reports that Arthur Schlesinger, a leading critic of the ethnocentric approach, notes that the accusatory is disturbing. It says, the malicious misrepresentation of African society and people was to support the enormous profitability of slavery upon which the entire American agricultural economy depended. Ravich, yes, I have time. Ravich supports this one. Ravich, it's just now 11:30. Okay. I'm going to be finished in a minute. I don't have much left. The debate is over. Excuse me. The great tragedy of segregation is that it prevented us from knowing who the other person was, all right? Now, the Portland essay attempted to do that. It was clear Ravich did not want to hear that. That's not what you want to hear. You see, it's one thing to teach the Jewish Holocaust because the enemy was the brutal German, right? It's another thing to teach the African Holocaust or the Native American Holocaust because the enemy was the European American. And what they are trying to do is to forget it. That's right. Forget it. And if you start talking about it, you're bitter. That's right. Oh, you're so bitter. These tireless debates leave me cold in an arena where the chances of life for African Americans become worse and worse. What we need is a national culture. Francis Fanon defines it this way. A national culture is the whole body of efforts made by a people in the sphere of thought to describe, justify, and praise the action through which that people has created itself and keeps itself in existence. A national culture in underdeveloped countries should therefore take place at the very heart of the struggle for freedom which these countries are carrying on. If culture is the sum total of artifacts which a group creates in its struggle for survival, self-autonomy, and progress, then the national culture must reflect groups in conflict. A Native American versus the European, African American versus the European, Mexicans versus the European, etc., because it was the Europeans who came over here and upset everybody. Now, Harold Cruz agrees with Fanon, but poses a special American problem. You remember what he said about that? He talked about everybody having an identity problem, including white folks. He said the fact of the matter is that American whites as a whole are just as much in doubt about their nationality, their cultural identity, as are Negroes. And thus the problem of Negro cultural identity is an unsolved problem within the context of an American nation that is still in process of formation. Fanon goes on to say, the intellectual who is Arab and French or Nigerian and English, when he comes up against the need to take on two nationalities, chooses if he wants to remain true to himself, the negation of one of these or the other. But most often, since they cannot or will not make a choice, such intellectuals gather together all the historical determining factors which have conditioned them and take up a fundamentally universal standpoint. I'm a human being. Now, we do not have a cultural democracy in the United States. We just don't have one. And in order to create one, as Cruz warned in 1967, we must have a complete democratization of the national cultural ethos. And each group, just as the Jews have done with their Holocaust, must frame its own history. Now, before African Americans, however, can enter this struggle, we must produce our record of our history and our life and our culture, because it has been suppressed and destroyed. So when people resent the fact that African American scholars are doing this work on ancient Egypt and all of that, because they call it particularist, remember that someone has to do this work or we cannot enter that struggle.
You can see why